So you join me down Johnson's. We're here to talk a little bit about the last few weeks angling and a bit of a catch up really. Managed to finally catch one of my main target fish, a fish called No Name, that come out at 43.14 to me. Unfortunately, due to restrictions, we've had to come down here to do it because it's a National Trust owned place. They don't want people filming, so we've come over here. A lot of my fishing I do now has been sort of range fishing, over 100 yards. Not stupid ranges, but that's what most of it is now, and a lot of particle fishing. I started fishing back on one of my main waters over at Frensham, only doing overnighters, so it ain't easy fishing. But I had a couple of fish, or I had a fish, and then I went back for another night, and I finally had the one I wanted. Well, I fished it 3 years, on and off, but I hadn't been there for 8 months or so. The only time I went round there was for a run. I don't even know why I'd done that. After a fair few blanks elsewhere, I got my ticket back and thought I'm just going to go and do it to stop thinking about it. I bought a load of pellet recently and I've always got particles sitting at home, so I've knocked up a bit of bait. I had some 8mm pellet, a few handfuls of maples, a handful of tigers and just a handful of boilie. So it's more bits fishing rather than boilie fishing. And I only dropped, what, 2 or 3 handfuls tight over the spot. And it's one of them waters, it's rammed full of tench. And I was thinking, no one's going to come down here and fish pellet. Especially if they're carp fishing, you might get the tench boys doing it. But I was quite surprised I didn't have any tench doing that. I went and fished down one end where I can walk my rods out rather than cast them and spook them before I've even started. I've done that for one night and I had a nice 20-pound scaly one. Went back a few days later and went straight back in the same zone. Walked my rods out. I walked one down the margin and one sort of straight out. It didn't take long. It was only out for 20 minutes and I had a bite. And I've lifted into it and sort of, as you do snag fishing, gave it a bit of stick and it just comes straight away from the rushes that I was fishing up against. And I thought, I think this is the one. It's got to be the one. I haven't had anything out of here before that's felt like that. And it is the only one that's that sort of size. And it's come round in front of me and I still haven't seen it. It still ain't come up off the bottom and it's only, what, a rod length in front of me or so. And then it suddenly popped up off the bottom. I see this big set of wrinkly shoulders come up and that's when the legs started going. I sort of shit myself a little bit. And I'm thinking, this is the one after all this time. And then at sort of first chance, it's had a gulp of air and it's just given up on me and just scooped it up. And I thought, look down in the net and just see the width on its shoulders and this is a good size, this one now. Well then, boys and girls, that didn't take long. Only gone and got the big one in the net, haven't we? Bit. Rig wise, I use pretty much the same thing everywhere I go as long as I can get away with it. But the rigs I always use a combi multi-rig tied with sort of 8 inches of 25-pound Mirage to a sort of 1-inch loop section tied on with an Albright knot, 25-pound sink skin that I've stripped the coating off, so I've got that sort of slip D effect, and then one of the tungsten kickers that I cut down slightly because they are quite long, through to a size 5 incisor normally, but I do change it from a size 5 incisor to a size 4 wide gape every now and then, depending on the situation. So what's next? I've got a ticket on one of the lakes over on the Wazen estate that I have done a bit of time on recently, but it's been hard work over there, and I just want to see how the autumn goes on there really, so I can properly focus on that up until it gets proper cold, and I think I'll pull off, maybe come back here, back to Johnson's for the winter, because I know it's got good form,